Welcome to the Money Answer Show with host Jordan Goodman. Whether you are starting out, deep into your retirement, or somewhere in between, the Money Answer Show has the know-how to help you. Now here's your host, Jordan Goodman.
Welcome to the Money Answer Show. This is Jordan Goodman, your host. My guest this hour is Larry Goins. He is a CEO, entrepreneur, real estate investor, educator, and author of several books, one called Getting Started in Real Estate Day Trading. Welcome to the Money Answer Show, Larry.
What's going on, buddy? How you been?
Great to be with you. So,
I'm really excited to be here. I really appreciate you having me on. I'm looking forward to it, and I think your listeners are going to get a lot of good, solid information they can use.
I agree. So just give them a brief background of your history in how you got into real estate and kind of the empire you've built now.
Sure, man. I really appreciate that. I've been investing for over 30 years. I bought my first house in 1986. And I haven't looked back. I saw an infomercial on TV, and I went to a preview seminar, signed up for the 3-day, and the rest is history. I eventually got my contractor's license. I eventually got my real estate license. But in all that, I found out I hate doing rehabs, and I hate tenants, but I do love real estate. And I have bought and sold over 1,000 houses in the last 30 years. And we still do, I think we have 29 houses under contract right now. So we keep about 20 to 30 houses under contract at any given time, buying and selling a lot of houses every month. And I've written a few books and coach and mentor and travel the country teaching people how to do real estate. And I love it.
Excellent. So let's just kind of have a broad view. People think of real estate as risky, complicated, subject to cyclical up and downs based on what's happening in the economy and interest rates. Why is real estate not what people think?
Well, people say real estate is risky. Real estate's not risky. Being uneducated is what's risky, right? As long as you get out there and get some information and education. I mean, a lot of people think, whatever it is, it's risky. You just got to know what you're doing. But I will tell you this. If people think real estate's risky, try the stock market. At least in real estate, I've got control over what I'm doing. I know what I'm buying. I know how much work it needs. I know what it's worth. But with stocks, bonds, mutual funds, Bitcoin, all that stuff, I don't have any control over it. And I'm not knocking that because I do some of that too for diversification. However, with real estate, I'm in control. I have control over what I'm investing in. And that's where I get my biggest returns is in real estate.
And you're saying you don't have to do just local real estate that you can go visit. How is it that you can do buying and selling homes all over the country?
Well, I'm in Lake Wylie, South Carolina. And I've actually done deals in 12 different states right from my office in Lake Wylie, South Carolina. And but I was doing virtual investing before people heard the term virtual investing, right? All you really need is when I first started doing virtual investing, all I was doing was phone, fax, FedEx, email, and internet. Now it's just phone. We don't fax anymore, right?
Yes,
we don't
right.
FedEx anymore. So it's just email and internet, phone, email, and internet. And we're buying houses all over in multiple states, and I love it. And we have students all over the country, even in, get this, you'll love this. I've got students in the U.S., Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, China, Israel, the Philippines, Ireland, Chile, and Denmark, buying houses in the States from their own city or state or country.
Amazing. So the same technique can go anywhere. It's not based on financing. Is that right? You don't need to get a mortgage or have good credit to do what you're talking about.
Well, it depends on your exit strategy. If your exit strategy is to fix and flip, like you see a lot of the shows on TV, you've got to buy it. You've got to have a way to acquire it, whether it's your money or someone else's money, but you've got to take down the property, meaning buy it. So somebody has to fund it, and then you have to be able to hold it to pay for your repairs. You've got to pay for the repairs, and then you've got to wait to find a buyer. I've got a couple of different models that I do. The first model is real estate day trading. I'll buy a house at 10 o'clock and sell it at 10:30. Right now, there's a lot that leads up to that, but I call it real estate day trading, and that was the book that I wrote, Getting Started in Real Estate Day Trading. And it's available wherever books are sold. But that was my first book, and I also do a lot of seller financing as well. I mentioned earlier that I don't like tenants, but what I do like are homeowners in training. Homeowners in training, right?
So what do you mean by homeowners in training? People they're buying their first home?
Well, when I'm when I'm selling a house with owner financing, let's say I might buy, let me just give you a quick example. Let's say I buy a house for $30,000. I've negotiated a deep discount. I got it down to $30,000, and which is not unusual. I bought houses even as recent as last month for $5,000 or less, right? But let's say I bought a house for $30,000 and I turn around and sold it for, let's say, $69,900, which is a typical kind of deal. And maybe I'll get $5,000 down and I'll finance $64,900. And out of the $64,900, I'll finance that for, say, 20 years. And they'll make monthly payments to me for the next 20 years. But if they default, if they default, now I could either foreclose on them or get them to sign off, a deed in lieu, or if I do what we call a land contract or a contract for deed, then it's much easier just to get them out of the property. It's not unlike an eviction. Now, there is no eviction for land contract, and I'm getting a little deep here, but it could be a lot easier to get them out of the property, and you just find somebody else that's going to give you another $5,000, and you move on to the next buyer.
So the idea is you're building a portfolio of cash flow. If you're doing seller financing, you've got all these people making their mortgage payments to you for a long time. That's the idea.
Absolutely. And the best part is it's cash flow without tenants, trash, termites, and toilets, because they're actually buying the property. Who pays the taxes? They do. Who pays the repairs? They do. Who pays the insurance? They do. So they pay everything. So it's 100% cash flow when you do it my way.
Very good. We're going to take a break. This is Jordan Goodman of the Money Answer Show. My guest this hour is Larry Goins. He is a real estate investor. You can find out more about him at his website, LarryGoins, GOINS.com. We'll be back after this.
We're always talking business. Talk to an expert. Call now toll free 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Voice America Business Network.
We've all been there, struggling to keep up with credit card payments, searching for a simpler, safer way out of debt. Well, here it is. Cambridge Credit Counseling is a nonprofit service that has been helping people reduce or eliminate their credit card debt for over 20 years. Most of us have made late payments and even gone over our credit limits. Before we know it, our balances are out of control, and we can barely afford to make the minimum payments. If this sounds familiar and you're ready to take control of your debts, call Cambridge right away at 1-800-897-2200 for a debt-free analysis. Cambridge will work with your creditors and may be able to reduce your interest rates and get you out of debt fast. In fact, Cambridge's typical debt management clients save almost $150 every month on their credit card payments, and they're debt-free in just 50 months. So there is a simpler, safer way out of debt, and it all starts with Cambridge Credit Counseling. Call 1-800-897-2200 for your free debt analysis. Cambridge Credit Counseling is a Massachusetts-based nonprofit agency providing services nationwide. For complete licensing information, visit them online at cambridge-credit.org. Jordan Goodman is an affiliate. He recognizes quality solutions, forming relationships to help improve the lives of his listeners.
Many industries have been revolutionized by technology in the last decade. Books, music, TV, communications, and now it's happening to our money and the way we pay. Tune in to Breaking Banks with Brett King for a look at how technology and customer behavior will bring about more changes in banking in the next 10 years than in the last 200 years. Listen every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Pacific on Voice America Business Channel or on AM 1160 The Voice. You'll never look at your bank account the same again.
We're always talking business. Talk to an expert. Call now, toll free, 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Voice America Business Network.
You've been listening to the Money Answer Show with Jordan Goodman. If you have a question for Jordan or his guest, please call us now at 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Now back to Jordan.
Welcome back to the Money Answer Show. This is Jordan Goodman, your host. My guest this hour is Larry Goins. He is a real estate investor and expert. You can find out more about him at his website, larrygoins.com. Welcome back to the show, Larry.
Hey, what's happening?
Tell people what they can find a little bit at larrygoins.com.
Wow. Well, I've actually been educating people for about 16 or 17 years. There's information there on our books, on our courses, our seminars, and our partner program, which is like a coaching and mentoring program, but we actually partner with students. But the cool thing about it is when we partner, off of their deals comes part of their tuition back on each deal, and then we split what's left, but my half actually goes to charity. I'm really big on donating to charity and helping others, and in fact, that's the name of one of my radio shows is Brag Radio, bragradio.com. Brag stands for Be Rich and Generous, and we encourage people to go out there and be successful, but be generous with their blessings.
And you also have a phone number people can call for more. What is that number?
Yeah, that's really good. I'm glad you brought that up. We have set up a special phone number that they can call if they'd like to get a free copy of the Getting Started in Real Estate Day Trading book. And if you'd like to get a free copy of Hud Homes Half Off book, as well as some other free education, you can call 877-LARRY-GO, 877-LARRY-GO, G-O, and you'll talk to Zenobia. She's right here in my office. And she'll just ask her for the free investor's kit, and it'll just kind of an introduction to us, and you'll get free copies of our books. Now, you can go online or go to the bookstore and buy them, but if you call 877-LARRY-GO, we'll give you a free copy.
Very good. So let's get into the details of day trading, as you put it, real estate. Let's start with the buy side. So what are the best ways to identify properties that you're able to buy at below their real value?
Well, that's a really good question. A lot of people say, now we do probably 10 to 20 deals a month, and a lot of people say, where did you find that deal? Well, my first response is we didn't find it. When we found it, it wasn't a deal, right? We had to negotiate a deal. We had to get it negotiated down to a discount. And that all comes from finding properties and various sources that you can negotiate down. Like HUD is one of them. We buy a lot of HUD houses. We also used to buy a lot on the MLS, but there's not near as many as there once was. But what we're buying a lot of now are properties that we get from direct mail by mailing out postcards to people who are maybe they're don't-wanters, maybe they inherited a property, maybe the property's in probate, maybe there's delinquent taxes, maybe there's code violations, maybe they're landlords that have owned properties for 20 or 30 years, and they're getting to the point they want to retire and cash out. So we do a lot of direct mail, and we make the phone ring. Our phone probably rings 200 or 300 or more times a week.
And so what do you say on those postcards that you're sending out to people who don't particularly have their homes for sale at the moment?
Well, we have several different postcards that we mail out. Like one of them will say, one of them we have a street view from Google Street View. It's called the Street View postcard. And it's where electronically the street view from Google Maps will be embedded on the postcard. And at the top of the postcard, it says, do you own this property? I am interested in buying your property at whatever the address is, 125 Oak Street, for example. If this is your property and you want to sell it, I buy houses, I pay cash, I can close very quick, no closing costs, no commissions. And if you'll call me in about 10 minutes over the phone, I can give you a fair cash offer. And we negotiate all of our deals over the phone.
So before you've sent that out, do you have a sense of what the price is and what the price you're willing to offer, and how do you do that negotiation?
Oh, well, no, before we send it out, no, I have no idea because we mail out about 25,000 a month. So when the phone rings, they call up and I have a lead manager that the lead manager will take the call and qualify the seller, because sometimes they just say, I'm not interested in selling my house, just take me off your list. And that's okay, we'll just remove them from the list. But then some of them say, hey, I'm calling about this postcard I got. I was kind of curious, hadn't really been thinking about selling, but wanted to see what you would offer. So I'll get some information about the property, about the condition, how old is the roof, how old is the HVAC, does it need paint, carpet, when was the kitchen updated, when was the bath updated, and I'll drive the Google Street, I'll look at it, I'll pull some comps, and I'll give them an idea as to what I can pay for the house. And I'll tell them it's an all cash, as is offer, and the price I quote to them is net to them minus any taxes. And and then sometimes they say, oh, no, there's no way I can do that. Or, well, I was hoping to get a little bit more. And then I just have to negotiate with them over the phone until we reach an offer or an agreed amount.
So how do you come up with that price? You're going to see comps. You're going to see the condition of the house. And then is it like 50% off? Or what kind of percent do you typically offer on the first offer?
Well, the typical model that just about every wholesaler or day trader does is ARV, after repaired value, times 70% or 0.7, minus repairs, minus closing cost, and then minus what you want to make as a wholesaler, as a day trader, and that equals the amount that you can pay for the property. And I always start a little bit lower than that, so it gives me some room to negotiate up.
And so roughly of those people you make those offers, what percentage accept them?
I would say probably 5%. But
5%.
5%. But you got to realize, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but I'm pretty good on the phone. I'm good at building rapport with people, getting them to like me and trust me. And I even tell them up front, I say, look, you can get more for your house if you list it with a realtor. I tell them that up front before I ever give them a price. I say, look, the way you're going to get the absolute most amount of money for your house is to fix it up, get it in tip-top shape, list it with a local realtor for 6 to 12 months, and have people come through your house for the next 6 to 12 months until you find that right buyer that's willing to pay you top dollar. The only advantage of working with somebody like me is I have cash. I'm ready to close right now. I'll pay all closing costs. There's no commissions, and you'll have your money in 30 days or less. The disadvantage is I can't pay you the same thing you could get through a realtor after you fix it up, put it on the market, and wait 12 months.
So it's a speed thing. You're giving them faster in return for lower money, basically.
Right. If somebody's in no hurry, in other words, if somebody calls up and says, I was just curious, I'm in no hurry to sell, I don't have to sell it, I don't need the money, then chances are I probably won't buy that house. But if somebody says, hey, I really want to get rid of this house, I'm trying to move here, I got transferred, or, I need the money or whatever, then I'm probably going to buy that house.
So you need a motivated seller is what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay, so once you do that, so what is the closing process? Say they've accepted. So do you have a local lawyer go there? And what is the closing process when you're doing this long distance?
Well, you know what? Let's back up. Let me give you one more step that's really crucial, okay? Let's say I'm on the phone with somebody, right? And let's say, they might even be out of state. Like I just closed a deal. Somebody was in Pittsburgh, right? The seller was living in Pittsburgh. I bought 2 houses from them in Shelby, North Carolina. And so as soon as they agreed to accept my offer, I said, look, I have somebody up in Pittsburgh. I said, let me have them run by and get the paperwork out of the way so we can get this thing started and I can get you your check in the next 30 days or less. I said, are you going to be at home in a couple hours? He said, yeah, I'll be here. I said, great. What's your home address? Great. I'm going to have one of my people come by this afternoon and get the paperwork signed. And then I reach out to my mobile notary service and I upload the paperwork. I pre-fill out the contract and I upload the paperwork, and it has the seller's contact information and their address and the preset appointment. And literally in a couple hours, I can have a mobile notary at anybody's house anywhere in the country. That way it doesn't give them time to think about it or talk it over with friends or relatives or whatever. So I've got a signed contract within a couple hours, and then we move forward toward the closing.
I see. So you find some people get cold feet and will pull away if you give them too much time.
Yeah, it's just like any kind of sales. They get buyer's remorse, or in this case, it would be seller's remorse.
Seller's remorse, right. Indeed. All right, so you get the notary, you get the thing signed, and then do you have to do the typical inspection and all that? You just got to go and you haven't even seen the house. You just kind of...
No, I haven't seen the house. The next step is we're going to send somebody out to the house to take pictures, right? Now, if the seller is living in the house, right? If the seller's living in the house, I'm going to send my mobile notary out, and I'm going to pay them a little extra money to take pictures of the house also, inside and out. Yes. Every room, any mechanical areas, any repair areas, all four sides of the house, any outbuildings, a street view both ways, and all that good stuff. So, but if they're out of town, I'll use a local service or a nationwide service, actually, something like WeGoLook.com or one of those services to go out and look at the properties and take pictures of it for me.
So you may be surprised it's in worse condition than you thought after you see the pictures. That doesn't affect your price or anything with what you offered?
Well, I tell people before I hang up, I say, this offer is based on what you told me. If once we take a look at the property, if it's in worse condition than we anticipated, then we may have to go back and renegotiate. So I give them advance warning that may happen. I had somebody go out and look at a property just last week I was buying for $18,000, but after looking at it, they didn't know this. The house had been open for a while or empty for a while. When my guy got there, the house was open. There were several windows busted out, and it was ransacked. So I said, look, I can't pay any more than $10,000 for this house, but I will pay $10,000 for it. Uh-huh. Right? So they're going to think about it and let me know. But sometimes that happens.
Indeed. Okay. All right. So then you typically takes you 30 days to close. Now, when you're doing day trading, you've already got a buyer lined up before you've even bought this house. Is that right?
Well, that's the whole idea, but we do still market for every house. We're marketing. We're trying to find a buyer, but we do also mail our buyers list to find buyers as well. But the goal is to have your buyer lined up, so the day I have to buy it, that way I can buy it and sell it the same day. Real estate day trading.
Yes, indeed. Very good. Okay. We're going to take another break. This is Jordan Goodman of the Money Answer Show. My guest this hour is Larry Goins. He is a real estate investor, author of a book called Getting Started in Real Estate Day Trading. You can find out more at his website, LarryGoins.com, or his phone number, 877-LARRY-GO. We'll be back after this.
Stocks, bonds, investment opportunities, financial news, and talk. We can help. Call us now toll free, 866-472-5790. 866-472-5790. Voice America Business Network.
Do you or someone you love have a life insurance policy that's no longer needed or not affordable? Did you know that you can sell your policy for cash? Your reason for buying life insurance has probably changed. Thousands of Americans turn to life insurance settlements to help sell their policies. They act as your representative, getting the highest market offer for you. You've got nothing to lose by simply inquiring. If you're over 64 with $100,000 or more of life insurance, you may already qualify. Call 877-485-6681 to get your free non-binding appraisal or visit fundinglife.com. Life Insurance Settlements. Discover the true value of your life insurance. 877-485-6681. Jordan Goodman is an affiliate. He recognizes quality solutions, forming relationships to help improve the lives of his listeners.
If you're like me, the list of books you want to read is never ending. You simply don't have time to read them all. Blinkist has solved this problem. Blinkist is the only app that takes thousands of the best-selling nonfiction books and distills them so you can read or listen to them in under 15 minutes, all on your phone. I like to listen to Blinkist while I commute to my office. The Blinkist library is massive, from timeless classics like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, to current bestsellers like Fire and Fury inside the Trump White House. My personal recommendation is to check out the 4-Hour Workweek. Right now, for a limited time, Blinkist has a special offer just for our audience. Go to Blinkist.com/moneyanswers to start your free 7-day trial. That's Blinkist, spelled BLINKIST.com/moneyanswers to start your free 7-day trial. You can cancel anytime. Blinkist.com/moneyanswers.
You've been listening to the Money Answer Show with Jordan Goodman. If you have a question for Jordan or his guest, please call us now at 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Now back to Jordan.
Welcome back to the Money Answer Show. This is Jordan Goodman, your host. My guest this hour is Larry Goins. He is an entrepreneur, real estate investor, author of several books, one of them called Getting Started in Real Estate Day Trading. You can find out more at his website, larrygoins.com, or his phone number, 877-LARRY-GO. Welcome back to the show, Larry.
Thank you.
So we've kind of done the buy side, at least the idea. So now let's say you've closed on the house. So what is the process of attracting buyers to that house, which you've never visited? You've had pictures of it, but you've never actually visited it. How do you attract buyers in some market that's hundreds of thousands of miles away from where you are?
Man, that's a great question. Well, first of all, is we have a local boots on the ground person. If you're investing virtually, you need a boots on the ground person, right? So we have a local boots on the ground person go and put out about 25 or 30 signs. You know, we have several different signs. Some of them say must sell ASAP. Some of them say foreclosure. Some of them say handyman special. So we have several different signs that we put out. We put out about 25 or 30 all over the neighborhood. If there's a Walmart or a CVS or a Walgreens or a Home Depot or a Lowe's, we put them out in front of those as well. And we're just trying to attract buyers, right? We also get them on Facebook groups, Facebook, our pages for our properties. Like we have a Facebook page, facebook.com/investors rehab. And that's the name of our company that sells the properties, Investors Rehab. And so we post them there. We post them on groups. We post them on Facebook Market. We post them on Connected Investor. We put them on Craigslist. So we're marketing our properties really, really hard to make the phone ring. And we have a lot of buyer calls every single week for the properties that we're selling. So they tend to sell pretty quick.
Now, these are typically not fixed up. You're selling it as is, just the way you just bought it. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Handyman specials, fixer-uppers.
Yeah. So, okay, so how do you figure out the price? You got this discount. You use the 70% number. How do you figure out the price you're willing to sell it for?
Well, I figured that going in, because if I take the ARV, after repaired value, times 0.7 or 70%, minus the repairs, right, and minus closing cost if you want to, then I subtract out how much I want to make, right?
Okay.
And so I figure that on the front end. If I want to make $10,000, I subtract 10, and what the number that's left is the max I can pay for it. Now, if I get it for less than that, right, then I can actually make more. I still sell it for the same amount or the same percentage, but I actually end up making more money on the deal.
Yeah. So on the buyer side, are you checking out their credit? What are you looking for to qualify a buyer who can actually go through and complete the deal?
Well, we're selling to cash buyers, okay? We're selling to cash buyers, and our whole method of selling is, look, we provide deal flow. We spend thousands of dollars a month on marketing. We're professional negotiators. We negotiate deep, deep discounts, and our properties don't last long. So if you're interested in one of our properties, you typically need to be a cash buyer. Do you have cash to buy a property? Are you looking for a house? We're going to qualify them. Are you looking for a house to fix and flip? Are you looking for a house to fix and rent? Or are you looking for a house to fix up and move into it, right? If they say fix and flip or fix and rent, well, great. Now, have you been investing very long, or are you just getting started? They might say, I'm just getting started. Oh, okay. Now, do you have cash to work with, or do you need to get financing, or do you have private money? Well, I need to get financing. Oh, okay. Have you been approved with a lender yet? Right? So we're going to go through and we're going to qualify them, and we're going to let them know, because our properties are priced at such a deep discount below market, they sell very fast. So you need to have, if you're not paying cash, you need to have a lender in your pocket and already be pre-approved and pre-qualified, so you can take advantage of our property before someone else gets it.
Is this true everywhere? There's some areas of the country that may be depressed, and there aren't a lot of people wanting to buy into those particular communities. Are you only going in communities where there's basic economic vitality?
Well, I tell people to stay away from the depressed markets, but right now I don't know of any depressed market in the country. Now, there are markets that are slower than others, but I don't know of anywhere that's like a Detroit, Michigan, 7, 8 years ago, or a Cleveland or Akron or Youngstown or Gary, Indiana. I don't know of any of those markets right now. I mean, yeah, there's some markets that aren't as hot as others, and some markets that are very, very hot. But I don't know of any depressed areas right now. But even regardless of what the market is, if you get a property at a deep enough discount, there's a market for a buyer for it.
Yeah.
And guess what? I only need one buyer for each house.
Right. Have you had auctions or, bidding wars on some of these things as well?
You know what? It's funny you mentioned that. In the past, I used to put my houses on eBay, and I would sell them that way on eBay as well. It was just an additional type of marketing. But I haven't done that as much lately, just because we haven't had as much trouble selling the properties. But also, I've sold houses with seller financing on eBay as well, where they're bidding on the down payment, not on the purchase price.
But they still have to qualify for the financing as well. You're not going to give seller financing to anybody.
Right. Well, if I'm seller financing the deal, they do have to qualify. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Okay. And then you typically will close both directions on the same day. You buy it in the morning and sell it in the afternoon, and it's kind of both are prearranged. Is that the way it works typically?
That's true. Now, if it's a property I got off the MLS or off of HUD, then I'm probably going to buy it and sell it. It's two separate transactions. However, if it's a property that I picked up from direct mail or from online marketing or bandit signs, the signs that say I buy houses, if it's from one of those sources, it's a simple assignment of contract and it's one closing, and I'm not even paying any closing cost. Like, maybe I'll get it under contract for $30,000, and I will assign my contract for $10,000, and then my buyer ends up paying $40,000 plus the closing cost.
Yeah. It's all done in one time. Yeah. All right. So let's talk a little bit about HUD housing. You've done a book called HUD Homes Half Off, a simple step-by-step detailed guide for buying HUD homes at 50, even 30% off market. So what is different about buying HUD houses compared to what we just talked about with conventional houses?
Well, the only thing that's different is the source, right? You can still seller finance it. You can still buy it and sell it the same day. You just have to actually close on the property, right? Instead of doing an assignment. But you can do the exact same thing with a HUD house that you can on any other type of property. Now, the thing I love about HUD is, now, first of all, somebody went and got an FHA loan, right? Now, FHA doesn't make loans. They just insure loans. So somebody went and got an FHA loan. They defaulted on that loan. Then the lender, like maybe Bank of America, contacted HUD and said, the borrower defaulted. We want to cash in our insurance policy. And so they do. And then HUD will basically buy that loan back, and then HUD forecloses on the property, and then it becomes a HUD house. And all HUD houses are found at HUDhomestore.com. HUDhomestore.com. HudHousing.com. That's the only place in the world you can buy a HUD house. And I love HUD houses because HUD is a daily auction. I literally bid on every single HUD house in North and South Carolina every single day.
And is there a lot of competition? Other people are bidding as well?
There are other people bidding. There are. But not everybody bids every day like I do. Now, some of them do, but not all of them. But remember, I'm bidding on every HUD house in North and South Carolina every single day, right? So we don't get them all. We get some. We get some every month. But I love it. I love it. And it's very, very simple because it is a daily auction. HUD is a daily auction.
So these are houses that had HUD mortgages. They weren't built by HUD, but they had HUD mortgages. And typically, are they foreclosures? People have left the house because they've been foreclosed and didn't pay their HUD mortgages?
Yeah, well, that's what a HUD house is. Somebody went and got an FHA loan. Maybe they went to Bank of America or Wells Fargo and they got an FHA loan. And FHA insured the house. So when the borrower defaulted, Bank of America or Wells Fargo contacted HUD and said, hey, the borrower defaulted, so I need you to buy this loan back.
And so these houses are always vacant? They've been pushed out by the time you buy it?
Absolutely. That's a great point. The houses are always vacant, right? They're always vacant. They've always been cleaned out. And check this out. If the borrower had a bunch of animals in there, maybe cats or dogs or whatever, and the house was really smelly, HUD will actually have the carpet removed so the houses aren't even smelly houses. I've never been into a rundown, smelly HUD house that was full of junk, right? They're always cleaned out, they're vacant, and that's one of the good things about a HUD house.
And again, how do you price it? I mean, if you're doing every house in North and South Carolina, how do you know how much to offer on these things? Do you do a lot of research? They're going to give you a list in advance and you research what to offer?
Yeah, all those HUD houses are at HUDhomestore.com. So what we do is we export the list. There's a link there that you can search for the properties and you can export the list and we import them into our spreadsheet. We have a custom spreadsheet that actually comes with the book, okay? It comes with the book. So we import it into our spreadsheet and then we spend just a few minutes analyzing each deal, running comps, driving the street online, looking at the ARV, looking at the pictures and the amount of repair. And the other cool thing is with all HUD houses, they provide what's called a PCR. That's a property condition report, okay? It's very, very important because it gives you a lot of detailed information. And when we come back from the break, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you exactly what's on that PCR and why it's so important, plus some specific strategies to use to buy HUD houses for pennies on the dollar.
Very good. We're going to take a break. This is Jordan Goodman of the Money Answer Show. My guest this hour is Larry Goins. He is a real estate investor, author of the book called Getting Started in Real Estate Day Trading. You can find out more at his website, LarryGoins.com, or his phone number, 877-LARRY-GO. We'll be back after this.
From the boardroom to you, Voice America Business Network.
Attention heroes, current and former firefighters, law enforcement, military, medical, or educational professionals. Heroes can receive rewards averaging over $2,500 when they buy, sell, or refinance a home. Heroes come first. Along with the Homes for Heroes is the nation's largest hero reward program. Their mission is to provide extraordinary savings to heroes who provide extraordinary services to our nation and its communities every day. Learn how you can purchase a home for no down payment, no closing costs, and get money back at closing. Find out how you can own for less than you may pay for rent. Get your hero rewards at heroescomefirst.com. That's heroes, HEROES, comefirst.com. 888-437-6114. Jordan Goodman is an affiliate. He recognizes quality solutions, forming relationships to help improve the lives of his listeners.
Are you a homeowner tired of making monthly mortgage payments with little progress towards paying down your principal? Does paying off your home in 5 to 7 years without making larger or more frequent payments sound appealing? Paying off your home in full in 5 to 7 years is really possible thanks to Truth and Equity's Mortgage Equity Optimization System, a money management approach that puts your money to work for you 24/7. If you own a home with some equity, have a decent credit score, and verifiable income, you owe it to yourself to learn more about Truth and Equity's program. There's no need to replace your mortgage or refinance in many cases. The system works for new home purchases as well as current mortgages. Your home is your largest investment. Own it outright in 5 to 7 years. Call Truth and Equity 888-262-5540 or visit truthandequity.com 888-262-5540. Jordan Goodman is an affiliate. He recognizes quality solutions, forming relationships to help improve the lives of his listeners.
You've been listening to the Money Answer Show with Jordan Goodman. If you have a question for Jordan or his guest, please call us now at 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Now back to Jordan.
Welcome back to the Money Answer Show. This is Jordan Goodman, your host. My guest this hour is Larry Goins. He is a real estate investor, author of a book called Getting Started in Real Estate Day Trading. We've been talking about that. He has webinars, a lot of things at his website, larrygoins.com or 877-LARRY-GO. Welcome back to the show, Larry.
Hey.
So we were just talking about the PCR, the Property Condition Report for HUD houses. So basically the idea is you don't have to inspect it yourself because they're doing it for you. Is that basically the idea?
Well, the best thing about the PCR or Property Condition Report is HUD is going to hire a field service rep, an inspector, to go out there, and they're going to inspect all the major things. They're going to inspect the roof, they're going to inspect the roof, they're going to inspect the HVAC, the electrical system, the plumbing, the kitchen appliances. They're going to inspect the hot water heater, just pretty much all the big stuff, right? Now, they're not going to inspect things like paint and carpet and landscaping and countertop or things like that, but it's all the major items, which is really, really a great thing because those are all the big things that you worry about when you're buying, especially long distance.
Yeah. So then in pricing HUD houses, it's not a HUD house anymore once you've bought it, right? So it's just it's another way for you to get houses to sell, basically.
Exactly. It's just a source.
Yes. Okay, good. All right, now you also have a strategy you call the Filthy Riches strategy. What is that and how does that work?
Oh, man, I love this model. This is basically getting cash flow without being a landlord, without having tenants. And it's buying, here's the whole Filthy Riches model in one sentence. It's buying dirt cheap houses nobody else wants, right? And making more money on it than the average investor makes on a $100,000 house or more, right? I mean, I literally buy houses for $5, $10, $15, $20,000, and I sell them for 3 to 6 times what I make on them with owner financing. I get some money down. They make payments to me, and they're responsible for taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. I mentioned this a little bit earlier on a higher price property, but I love the Filthy Riches model because we're averaging triple-digit returns. Would you believe that? Triple-digit returns on these deals.
And the reason is because it's seller financing. They're willing to pay more because they don't have the cash, but they're willing to pay a higher price if they can pay it out over 20 years or so. Is that the idea?
Well, it's not only that. They're not paying more than retail. They're paying retail for the property, right? But they're not paying more than retail. I'm not fluffing up the value to be more than retail. But, you know, the property may need some work. They're going to put in some sweat equity, but I'm financing it for them, right? I'm financing the property for them, and they're getting a property that they couldn't have got somewhere else because the bank may not loan them any money.
Yeah. Do you find that a lot of those do end up defaulting and people don't end up paying you for 20 years?
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. And a lot of people think that's the worst thing that can happen. But actually, that's the best thing that can happen. Well, it's not the best thing that can happen. But a lot of them eventually do default. But the good news, let's say I bought a house for $30,000, just like we talked about a minute ago, and I sold it for $69,900 and I got $5,000 down. Let's say they paid for a year and quit. I get them out of the house, I sell it to somebody else, and I get another $5,000 down.
Yeah.
Right?
There's some work involved, but it does pay off financially if you can swing that. That's correct. Yeah. Sometimes... Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, when you say there's some work involved, there is a little bit, but it's not manual labor. I'm not going to go in and fix up the property. All I'm going to do is advertise it and market it again and get somebody else that's going to give me another $5,000 down.
Yeah. So you're known as a particularly good negotiator. What are some of the tips that it takes to negotiate both the buying and selling houses, since you've done so many negotiations?
Well, I will tell you this. I'm a firm believer, if you're going to be active in the real estate business, you need to learn to be a good negotiator, right? You've got to learn how to build rapport with people. You got to learn to get people to like you and trust you. And there's some techniques out there that I'm telling you, they're very, very, very strong techniques. So whatever you do, don't ever use your negotiating skills to take advantage of somebody, right? Like, I'll give you a quick example. I was on the phone with a lady the other day trying to buy her house. I made her an offer. And before we got off the phone, she started crying. She started telling me that her son she had to move out of the house because her son would come over and break in the house and threaten her, and he's an alcoholic, and she had nowhere to go. She's 61 years old and she's living with friends. Before we got off the phone, I told her some things she needed to do to get the house out of her son's name and get it back in her name, and I was going to see if I could get some people to go over and fix her house up so she could move back in it, right? So you got to be careful. You got to do the right thing. But yes, you do need to learn some negotiating skills, and there's a lot of things out there, whether it be on podcasts like this or YouTube or whatever, that will help you. But you do need to be a pretty good negotiator to be able to do deals.
Describe what you offer in your webinars, and if you have live seminars, what kind of training? Because this is just a small sample of what you offer.
Sure. Yeah, well, basically, I have some books, Getting Started in Real Estate Day Trading, and HUD Homes Half Off, How to Buy HUD Houses for Pennies on the Dollar. You can get a free copy of both of those by calling 877-LARRY-GO. We also do webinars on the Filthy Riches model. It's a 90-minute webinar that shows step-by-step exactly what to do and how to do it. You can find a link at LarryGoins.com or at FilthyRiches.com. We also do live events. I used to do them all over the country, and I used to travel all over the country and speak and teach. But I've decided if people want to learn from me, they can come to me now. So now what we're doing is we do about 4 live events a year in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is near Lake Wylie, South Carolina. I'm right across the state line. So we do several live events, and plus I also have a partner program where it's like a coaching and a mentoring program, but people come to my office and they spend 3 days with me getting their business up and running.
So who is this right for? Who would be successful at your strategy, and who would this not be successful for?
Well, I've always said there's 2 types of business. An enterprise business and a lifestyle business. An enterprise business is somebody wants to have employees, an office and all that. A lifestyle business is you want to sit on your laptop and do deals from Starbucks, right? And there's also the brand new investor and the experienced investor. Like, I have a partner program going on at my office right now. I stepped out because they're busy setting up their marketing and all that. So I've got people in my office right now, but I've got people everywhere from brand new, never done their first deal, and I've got one guy that does 10 to 20 deals a month. So, it doesn't really matter. I can help all spectrums. The new person, I'm going to help them get up and running. And the experienced person, I'm going to help them scale their business or be able to be more effective and more efficient.
In about a minute we have left to go, what difference does it make in people's lives to use the real estate day trading strategy you've been talking about?
Well, it is the lowest barrier to entry. Day trading real estate is the simplest, lowest barrier to entry. It requires the least amount of cash. It requires the least amount of effort, and it gets you the money in the shortest period of time. Now, don't get me wrong. I've never said it was easy, right? I've never tell people that real estate is easy, but I have simplified it absolutely as much as it can be simplified. And if you get the book, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Terrific. Well, thanks so much. My guest this hour has been Larry Goins. You can see he's a real expert on real estate investing. His book is called Getting Started, Real Estate Day Trading. He also has a book about the HUD. We talked about HUD Homes, half off. You can find out more about him at his website, LarryGoins.com, and also his phone number, 877-LARRY-GO. Thanks so much for being a great guest on the Money Answer Show, Larry.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks again, and we'll be back next week with another edition of the Money Answer Show. Goodbye for now.
Thank you for joining Jordan Goodman and the Money Answer Show. If you have a question for Jordan, please visit his website at www.moneyanswers.com. And be sure to tune in every Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on Voice America Business. See you next week.